You're running 40 kilometers
Dribbling.
dribbling, but I think dribbling is harder.
Yeah.
Yes, so dribbling 40, average out 40 kilometers a day.
I've covered 45 kilometers.
Yeah,
For 2 months.
every day.
Every day, yeah. From Kolkata to New Delhi.
For me to see a foreigner and that too like Japanese is like one of the nicest, calmest and most polite to move to Bihar, which is not almost, it is a rapid 180-degree shift.
Definitely.
You know that I've never been to Bihar. Been living in India for close to 20 years, traveled a lot, but Bihar is one state. And I think this is true for a lot of Indians. Bihar is one state they would never even think of going. Like,
I just purchased one football and started to exercise myself. And then I had like one encounter with a small tiny boy. Yeah, called Sorav. But I found him talent. He was super good at making something, you know. He was just collecting the garbage and they just attached it, everything, you know, jugaad. Yeah, jugaad. And then I also discovered that a lot of girls are there, but playing sports is not something for girls, village girls. It's not really allowed to wear half pants. I joined Toyota Motor Corporation, which is the leading classic mega company that a lot of people want to join, especially in Japan. I
one of the most
respected, also stable. Very honestly speaking, I feel like happier, healthier in India. I have a lot of love and support from India. India gives me a lot of spice for my Tamakin life.
I think people don't have a sense actually, but I think you work a lot.
Work?
Yeah.
And what work means like,
Let's say in which sense? Every sense. I think you're just a really, really hardworking guy.
yeah, I mean, willingly or willingly. A lot of things to do actually, yeah.
I think that like so I know you through Instagram, and I think most of the people would know you through Instagram. That's like how most of people track. But I think that I had this concept in my head before I started getting into social media that people who are mostly on social media don't actually do something because it's like more of a talking platform. But I found people that a couple of people, especially on the podcast as well, that I felt that just incredible amounts of work. And like this social media is just a small, tiny bit of inspiration and, just to keep them going. But I think the whole funnel around it is massive.
Yeah.
Is that true for you? You think?
Yeah, I do think so. No, I mean, actually, there are a lot of space that I got to put more effort, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, every day, exhausting.
I know at the end. Is that how you plan do you think that's a good day when you're exhausted? Like, I think that's a beautiful quote that I heard. But it's like every day should end like there's nothing more you could have done.
Yeah.
We just fall asleep like that.
I definitely do believe so. Yeah. But I never got like a mentally exhausting, because living on purpose.
Yeah.
And I love what I'm doing from my heart. Yeah. So, yeah, physically, yes, 100%, like with the heat, 45, Bihar.
But you know that I've never been to Bihar. I've been living in India for close to 20 years. I've traveled a lot, but Bihar is one state. And I think this is true for a lot of Indians. Bihar is one state they would never even think of going. Like, for example, my dad got he was working in a bank and he got the offer, like a promotion, to move to Bihar. He denied the promotion. Dude. He was so scared in the 90s and,
Understood.
he was so scared of the crying that he didn't enter Bihar. So for me to see somebody who's a foreigner and that too like Japanese is like one of the nicest, calmest and most polite, a lot of respect within the culture to move to Bihar, which is, is not almost, it is a rapid 180-degree shift.
Definitely. Yeah, sometimes. Maybe like a lot of people think it's a different planet.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah.
Are you the only Japanese in Bihar?
No, actually not. There are a few I see them actually.
Okay.
Especially the place I'm based in is called Bodh Gaya, right? The holy place for Buddhist.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a Japanese temple as well. So yeah, I see some of the Japanese, but not definitely the same as like the capital, or Mumbai or definitely Bangalore, where we have automotive companies and so on. Definitely different, yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about the mission. Like, I'm just curious, like what mission was when you started out and you've been there now for 5 years.
Right.
How is that?
Oh my God. Time just fly.
Exactly. Like 5 years is like you are now, like you maybe, how old are you right now?
I'm 32.
So that's like more than 20-30% of your life for you has then close to India as home. So I would say that you're partially Indian in a way now. Talk to me about what was the dream. What was I think you can tell more high level, like what your mission was to come to Bodh Gaya. I think you came with Toyota and you started finding like more meaning in inside teaching football this past May. But tell me more about the mental mindset also. Like what was going on in your head, and now 5 years, like how has that evolved?
Right. So I think it better like to begin with my little more my touch about my background. I think me personally, I born and grown up in Japan. From Okayama, that is next to Hiroshima, because Hiroshima and Osaka. And then I just spent entire my childhood days for playing football, soccer for you guys. I mean, as well.
Saka?
For us, football, but that's why I live in States, right? Yeah. Osaka or football, whatever you call it. And so right after graduating uni in Kyoto, I joined Toyota Motor Corporation, which is the leading classic mega company that a lot of people want to join, especially in Japan. It's the most
One of the most
respected, also stable. Yeah, the company that a lot of people want to join. So I just luckily got an offer from them and just worked for them for 3 years and a half at the cost of like coordinator in domestic market in Japan. So I was just doing market research basically. So, as you imagine, working in corporate listed company that you've got a lot of good peers in the working environment, and like but same time, like I was totally satisfied with my previous job as a member of Toyota, but same time wanted to do something more. I was like meaningful for me, like rather than just business making profit.
Right.
So I always wanted to always been like curious about how the people living on so-called like developing countries, right, where they like suffer from lack of nutrition or food or whatever source they lack. And then I decided to create Toyota back in 2019, and started to pursue to be an UN worker initially, United Nations worker. So they got a few conditions to be a UN worker, and then one of the top one was you got have a more than 3 years working experience with the related field, international cooperation field. That I didn't have that before. So then I found one post for the Japanese government project. We call it ODA project, which is Official Development Assistance Program, which the central Japanese government has some sort of budget to support other countries for their development, right? And that project was Bihar project, rural development project. More exactly, what we did was managing an organic farming project, and see, like Bihar entire population is same as more than Japan population.
Right.
Yeah. So, and as far as I know, 70 to 80% of people over there are working for agriculture industry. So we did a farming project, environment friendly project to increase the farmers' income. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So also we did build a.
But you'd never been to India until this point.
Never.
You traveled in Asia?
But that's then quite a bit. Okay, but I would travel like South Africa or South America or these spots, but never got in India.
Got it.
Really, no connection, zero. Really, I didn't know no one. So yeah, because of my previous assignment with the Japanese government project, I ended up there, but never imagined to do any sports project.
Yeah,
never. Because I was just excited to about to be a UN worker. So very honestly, my initial plan was just be there for 2 years or 3 years to feel the requirement or condition to be a UN worker, right?
Yeah.
So I was think, okay, let me give me a try, and let's apply for UN work as schedule planned while I was working to Europe.
Right.
And but once I got there, imagine living a countryside of India. There's not so many things to do for my spare time. Especially Bihar itself is a dry state. Yeah, I'm not like a heavy drinker, but there's no like a after Friday, concept. Isn't yes, right? Like there's no pub and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So then I decided to figure out okay what to do. Then as me, former soccer player,
Yeah.
I just purchased one football and started to exercise myself. And then I had like one encounter with a small tiny boy.
Yeah.
Called Sorav. He was like touching around like garbage and correct garbage and stuff like that, or like almost begging me. But I found him talent, which he was super good at to making something. He was just collecting the garbage and they just attached it everything together and make a like roller coaster or something. Like a Indian small,
Just like Lego is, but
they make everything. Jugaad.
Yeah.
Jugaad. So yeah, he had like a special things, and he come to me and asked me, like, भैया आप कहाँ से or like 10 रुपये दे दो 10 रुपये दो stuff like that, which is classic. But I asked him, "Oh, do you want to play this football? Or do you wanna play around with this football genda?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Ha ha 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 ha." Then that was our how to say beginning of our football initiative. It was just like me playing around myself and just one encounter with a small boy, and then. But I found at that time that was a 2021 March, so during the middle of the COVID.
Yeah.
So all the parks are closed. So we just like found it like small tiny spot to play.
Yeah.
Behind the like, mandal. And this is how we begin. And but also we found there's no football goal.
Of course.
So when we figured out to start to make like sustainable eco football goal with some materials around us, like timbers or bamboos or like some whatever maybe. That was our very first project. Then, like little by little, I started to put my effort and resources and time after my work, which is already family project, to teach football for the local children.
Wow.
But that was only 100% like boys were there. Later stage, I gotta talk about it later, but we didn't see any girls play around. So then I was like, kind of, okay, interesting. Something I've been doing last 2 decades since my 3 years old, and it's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Can be maybe something too. You encourage local children for something positive. That was I started to.
Because you felt there was nothing like really children like or like those hobbies were not there.
No. They just
had horror.
Yeah, exactly. So then, once you started to work with children, you've got some certain amount of trust that you were invited by them for like Holi, Diwali, or Sadi, whatever the hospital the ceremony, to get into their village, right?
Yeah.
So I remember after 2 or 3 months after we started this practice with boys, I got there in the village. Then I also discovered that a lot of girls are there. Their sisters, right? Boys' sisters are kind of seeing boys and they wanted to do something also, as same as boys do. But playing sports is not something for girls, village girls, right?
Of course.
It's not really allowed to wear half pants,
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like just interact with guys.
Exactly. They are so curious about me, but they're super shy. And I never got close, just like behind brothers or moms, and then just they play around within the community itself. And then I ask the boys around, can they also play? But no, like, this is not something for that, for them, girls,
Yeah.
So simply they had no clue, right?
Right.
About this whole concept. So, and then little by little started to try getting trust with them, and then have conversation with the parents, especially moms, and saying, is that okay for your daughter also play football? same as boys do,
Yeah.
because this is something we do in Japan.
Yeah. But that requires, like, I'm wondering, like, you coming from Japan, and also, like, I mean, I didn't think you picked up that much in the beginning, right? Like, how were you able to communicate? Because that's something that we face in one of the nonprofits that I work with. Is similarly in northern India, we have education centers, and not just football, even going to school is a big deal for girls, right? So it is, we actually don't like as a nonprofit to go talk to the parents, because, but we educate how the children should talk to their parents.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, how are you able to get your points across?
Yeah, I mean, the first barrier was definitely language, right? And then there were two adults from the community helped me out to translate, actually. And I started to grasp some Hindi myself also.
Yeah.
But language is not something, it doesn't, I mean, not a huge matter. What mattered the most was, of course, the parents worry about their daughters to get out of the community, right? And to have some encounter with, I don't know, like some strangers,
Yeah.
or human traffic or harassment or whatever that issue the countryside have, right?
Yeah.
So I encourage boys also asking brothers that is that okay for your sisters also playing, and also I a few times I remember showed them that cleaning dishes with a hand pump and saying this is something we are doing in Japan, our country, or other countries as well. Like, also brothers or fathers sometimes do like housework, it's not something for only girls, So I just like trying to be showcase and then tell the boys, and so that we could make mothers and parents kind of be in a safe place that, okay, if my son is going to practice with my daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like brothers there. So, okay, let's see, like some certain specific time, boys, So that's all things. Because there's, of course, a certain reason that moms worry about, right?
Of course.
Yeah, or concerned about their daughters to play football outside of community. So I just like, we sit down together with them, and what is the matter, like, what, 2, 3, if you want to, you don't want your daughters to go outside after 5 o'clock, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And if you feel like it's safe, that if you have like sons around daughters,
Yeah.
click, and one by one, we just speak. Also, we showed a lot of the video. The girls play football for the capital or other countries as well, and how it make girls positive, to broaden their horizon and in their career as well.
Yeah. So how many kids are you talking about? Like, how many kids would you have now, and how many?
Right now, like, okay, so we have like a different project site, but regular participants, girls participants were around 35 to 40. Yeah, but we do have a different project site. So in total, 150 to 200 kids around there.
Wow.
But the regular members are 30, 40.
And this is all Bodh Gaya?
Bodh Gaya.
Like, nobody comes from outside there, right?
No, it's a very local community.
And are you doing this all by yourself?
No, we had a team. Been 2 years, higher on football coach.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think coming back to the point earlier that we were talking about you leaving Toyota, I think that's something I realized when I went to Japan. And by the way, this shirt is from, I realized, it's from it's really one of the best places I've ever been to. I've never really traveled Asia. I've traveled a lot of Europe, US. But in Asia, I spent like 20 years, but only in India. So going to Japan with my baby, it was just amazing because we got a lot of good interaction with people because of having a tiny baby. Everybody just wanted to come say hi. But one thing I realized while talking to locals there was in Japan, which is unlike any other place I know, is people don't leave their jobs. People stay at the same company for 2 decades, 3 decades. It's not, uncommon for people to stay in the same job. Whereas in India and US, that people are switching jobs every 2 years. But for you to work at Toyota, I think Toyota, JL, all these big companies are one of the most respected places to work for. So is that something that you figured out, that by the time you're in your early 20s, you're already working at one of the top companies, and you started asking, okay, what's next? Is this it? Is that when you started questioning that, you to go for non-profit or can?
Yeah, definitely. After I think 3 years, work is 3 years, same companies are, I think, good enough to see how you're gonna make career, like seeing your senior or breast that, okay, after 5 years, 10 years, what's gonna happen, what is career path, department, whatever division, maybe. So then I started to figure out. And also leaving Toyota in the stable company wasn't, how to say, big deal, honestly speaking. Because me, myself, I don't think I am a kind of elite person. And there are a lot of my coworkers and peers are coming from a very prestigious uni and stuff like that. But I just like was sports guy, like super luckily got like sports scholarship, get into high school or university. Yeah, I just like play soccer, and because of that, I enhanced my communication ability and leadership and whatever the company wanted to have. So I was like more okay, lucky like if Toyota regretted me and stuff like that, So I wasn't. It didn't really take a lot of courage for me to leave, or even more. I wanted to embrace more challenge
And you felt out of place in those 3 years? Like, is that also something that you noticed that you kind of felt out of place in the sense of the community or the environment you had in Toyota was something that you were not expecting, or just the people's mindsets? Like, for example, that's something happened with me early on as well, is like, working for a corporate, people are just wanting to have a bigger house, a bigger car. It's not so materialistic as I'm like, it's not just car or it's just a house, but essentially this is all the things go around is like, I just want to have a better life, and that better life almost has no end.
right.
Is that something that you realized at that age, or that's not something that you had noticed?
That definitely I noticed. Okay, it's not my thing. Yeah, it could be like materialistics and things like that. It's not something I feel definitely. I think I'm been influenced by my parents as well. They are very much like how to say, always do some community service. And I remember like childhood days when if we turn on TV, there's like some sort of documentary about a social activist or international corporation like related contents are there. So like I was kind of like always wondering like, okay, why these people working for this, why these people suffering from that and stuff like that. So yeah, like more than have this like stability, I wanted to like see different world through my work,
Right.
I was curious about it.
And coming back to the earlier point of like your inner metrics or inner thinking about moving to India, now it's been 5 years. Has that evolved? Has the mission kept on becoming bigger in the sense, or is there a sense that, okay, I've achieved good, like what I've achieved right now is pretty good, is already, good community, but is the goal now even bigger for you, for you to be in India?
Yes, also bigger 100% than I ended up when I get there. Yes, 100%. And I feel definitely we see changes are there, especially for girls, because playing sports for girls in our village getting definitely normal, like even like not for the parents and the family around girls, but also the surroundings, so, neighbors, on the city, they reckon that okay, these village girls are playing football over there. It's starting from 5 o'clock every day, so it's getting normal. But same time, of course, within these 2 years is like main, how to say, like the actual
Impact.
yeah, we have to, because the oldest girls that who we work with are now getting 13 14 years old, right? Imagining after class 10, 15 16 years old, parents started to look up their future husband, basically, right? So if we cannot like make like actual like benefit for the parents, right?
Yeah.
Then to make them see the actual like career path. Yeah, and it's very hard, right? So I'm kind of like feeling, yes, we've done a lot of good for on girls, and then we can see change, but feeling like kind of like rush, you know? Yeah, I got to do a lot of things, and building up school. I started to pay for the youth coach and a lot of space that I have to work on,
So building a school.
Building school. So our like middle term aim that we have within 5 years to achieve is having a residential football academy.
Yeah.
In our village, where we have like tough and a residential school where children, especially girls, can play soccer and then study.
Yeah.
With the full of curiosity, within a safe place.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I think that what you're doing, I can imagine to be so hard for an Indian to start. And that's because one, Bihar being a place that, nobody is the lowest economic. I think I might not be wrong here. I think Bihar is the lowest per capita income. Um,
Correct.
as compared to any other state, lowest education standards, like all the negative metrics are the highest. And so that being one thing, and the other thing being that how much like generally in India, how much we value sports apart. Like if you leave apart cricket, any other sport doesn't get any value, like, and especially football, right? Like, no, I don't think like 99% of Indians can name you in a single football player. And to do that in India, that's just really, I think, a hard step, but it's very important what you think. I feel that with sport, and we have seen with the different countries, right? Like I think there's black communities have done these studies that, for example, like in bad neighborhoods, if you don't involve them in sports or any group activities, then this is going to pick up the next easiest path, which is the path of crying. But in India, it could be just a path of like getting married or, the trafficking and just the negative stuff. And do you notice like that's something surprising for me? I'm from Delhi. Like in India, you would hear about trafficking, but for example, city people don't really see that. I'm wondering, like, how have you noticed? How has your experience been with these negative things, especially coming from Bihar? And how do you?
Right. I see these things, especially for boys, and because the boys until like certain age, like 12, 13 years old, they just like play around in the ground or community. But after they, become 14, 15 years old, they started to um, get like cigarette or like motorcycle, scooty or whatever. And there are a lot of things to do for boys, and then get into more something not healthy one, Yeah, definitely. So, but I tobacco, just like, like kumki and and just hung around in the community. Yes, doing nothing. And started drink alcohol, or some bad case was is getting like addicted by drug and stuff like that. So coming to the point, definitely sports, especially for soccer, football, allows them to be in consistent growth and to be a role model of the community and service for them, for the next generation as well. The main project that we have now is a youth coach session where all the players, including both boys and girls, has been playing with us last 4 years. Now they started to teach football for other village children.
Yeah.
As a coach. Youngest coach starting from 12 years old to 16 years old. So they're aiming to be a IIFA football coach. And also, they have a lot of horizon. So definitely this sports allow them to think about their career. Also, once you started to play sports, you also notice that, okay, but great, sports is good, fun. However, if you only play sports, you cannot make more, how to say, a lot of options to go like career.
Right.
Then they also started to notice the importance of education.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's our third step. Like first step is like let them play football to let them realize their rights and self-confidence. and get into more like leadership. And third point is to let them notice the importance of education.
Wow.
Yeah, because because they started to be hungry more and more to
Right.
goals and develop their future career, right? But they got to know that okay, we have to study.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what happened is they started to go to school,
Yeah.
and which is very, normal, but it's not something normal for a lot of children, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, even like still like public school, but they started to go to school,
Yeah.
you know? And then some of them started to figure out how he or she can go to proceed for higher education. So that's the like real power of sports also, to let them we allow them to grow and let them see more like future.
Yeah. So you're saying that is now the major step is around when the girls and the guys get around like early teens. That's kind of a differentiator.
Yeah.
Of how the next maybe 40, 50 years would go, right? Like in those couple of years, if they're able to prove value, whatever their parents value, it could be education or earning some money or, becoming so good in sports that you're correct, it's correct. So any of those ways, you're kind of seeing now this is the final push.
Exactly. Because of course, what I realized initially when I got in village, I was like, why the parents want daughter to marry like at the age of 15, 16, right? Because definitely it's not it's not normal for us, but of course parents think about their daughter's happiness,
Yeah.
right? But what happiness definition for them is having or finding a husband who has the very stable background or
Yeah.
because of course who wants their daughter to be struggling with lack of anything
Right.
food or whatever. So their concept of marriage is to let the daughters happy, right?
Mhm.
Well, so simply I just realized like they have no clue about other options, like either sponge bowling. Exactly. Yeah. So then I'm a lot of moms also started to notice that okay, if you play sports and education takes, there are more other options as well, to have to be like financially independent also, or that daughter has more rights and dignity.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that most parents just like in those places just don't even know what are the options.
Yeah.
The easiest way and what you've seen in the society happen is you get married and then you're in a different house, then you kind of set up your whole life there and that takes a lot of effort. Then you have a kid and it's just like that's the only option.
Correct.
Unless very few people in maybe in those villages would know of somebody who's done a different path. So I think that's something we realize in our nonprofit as well as having just one or two calls from outside of India or even just outside their neighborhood, they've never actually interacted with anybody. Because now even with the internet, I think it is easier, but also they're more distant. It's easier because they can access Google, they can go to YouTube. But it's even more different is because now they're seeing a life they know is not possible. So for them, it's like a movie.
Right.
Like how you would watch a movie and you would not, as you get older, you stop relating to that person because you cannot be that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having people like you in there or just like outside exposure kind of opens their eyes that there's a different path to life and they could achieve much more.
Correct.
And
That's it.
yeah.
100%. Yes.
But how are things for you right now? I'm just wondering like I see that you're traveling so much. How much time are you spending now in India? Like, is that still your base? We're time, right? Because
Yeah.
Japan is home. Oh yeah, but also work in Japan because you still work for the company, right? You still as a contractor, yeah.
Yeah. So since March 2020, my last 5 years, I've been working for corporate, just the Japanese corporate. Simultaneously, I established my foundation, NGO, right? Yeah, no profit. But yeah, coming to a point, my basement is at Bodh Gaya. I have my apartment over there, and running this NGO football club is my non-profit activity of course, I don't get paid from them. And because imagining like getting like 1 lakh donation to my salary versus to the students' impact is significantly different, right? So I have to work still like for my corporate job. But as a freelancer, I've been supporting Japanese company who wanna establish their business in India, or as a Japanese, Japan, we've been depopulating, we are lack of people over there for work.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies started to work on to recruit the foreigners to come to Japan for work. So India is one of the big scope that we have to, it depends on you guys to come over to Japan to work, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of company want to recruit the people. So I'm just like supporting them for their like selection event to me and between the university and the companies and stuff like that. I also do coaching for individually and organization as well. For their like
And this is your clients are international or mostly like Indian?
mostly both Japan and India. Yeah.
Japan and India.
Yeah. So
Just
like recently the offer that I got is that's all like introducing a continued mindset program.
Yeah.
To provide mindset program for the Japanese automotive company for their salesperson. Yeah, because I done this Guinness World Record challenge to soccer ball and stuff like that. I'm also having the face of athlete, right? So this company
that's how Japanese people usually see you. Is like an athlete
no,
who's
more like
living in India.
more like social activist, social worker who does something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But that's also like you, right? That's also your personality. I feel this is you. This is you like taking hard challenges and seeing how you like do mentally and physically in those challenges. That's like a complete sports person.
correct. This is me, and this is me. I have to be like because I'm 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 a messenger, right? And educator and coach for the children, right?
Yeah.
The closest adult of them.
Yeah.
If your football coach is Mota,
Well, all my coaches were mortars.
but he's never respected. Never. You see a lot of I don't criticize, but that's so true. Yeah, because
Like if I'm coaching about money, right?
yeah,
And I'm barely living my month to month on like EMIs and installments, and you don't deserve the respect. It's like not just deserve, then people also see that. It's a
contradiction.
people see the contradiction. Humans are very good at it.
That's why at some point it's the we gotta connect with the reason that I took this challenge last year across India dribbling football, because after we become certain age or adult, we realize that we make a lot of contradiction, right? Our say-do gap is massive sometimes, right?
Yeah.
What I said to them, okay, you embrace the challenge, and you gotta put your effort and and like you work harder, you put your effort and whatever may be. But see what we do, and
We take shortcuts and
tired to be
we will like not be nice to people, especially the ones we think we'll never see again.
right.
It's interesting that you came across the realization by yourself. Like I needed to have a kid. You realize that, oh my God, there's this, I can't, like, that was one of the reasons why I started this podcast too, was that I can't expect my baby to achieve the full effort and outcomes and, in life unless I'm doing it in front of her.
Correct.
I can't just tell you to be, do this hard stuff if I've never done it.
Yeah. And also realize we can't change the people,
Yeah.
we have to change ourselves first to be, and then we can be a showcase or the role model then, because that's the most powerful influence, right?
Yeah.
The kids seeing adults run closest to you, if he's like being like just drunk entire day versus just running hard. Of course, like running my own NGO and getting like fundraising or working for the company itself is a challenge. But children
who cares about, this behind the scene? Yeah, and they don't know, what I do for my work and
That's perfectly fine. We never knew what our parents did as really like in their job.
exactly.
But you could see them put in effort. It was very honest effort.
Yeah, and our kids see me. Nono, like, Bhaiya, like, brother, आपका challenge क्या है? What's your challenge? Are you running hard and stuff like that, right? They don't really ask me, but of course they see me like that. So in a way. So then I was like, okay, if I say you have to take challenge, I need to take challenge. It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
In the challenge, which in a way that children understand, the village children can understand.
Yeah.
Nono course is something taking massive challenge,
Yeah.
So then, okay, I have to be fit and leaner more than before to like be a showcase to embrace the challenge.
Yeah.
So why not across India?
Yeah. So you wanted something that is like appreciable by those kids, right? And those kids won't care how many followers and stuff. Like, for example, those challenges are meaningless to them, right? Because they don't care. Like, they only know people in their village area. Who cares about, 1 million followers?
Yeah,
But I think a physical challenge, and for example, if you did a Mount Everest, then also maybe they would not have understood. Because, like, you're sitting in a village, like, how would you know how hard it is to climb a Mount Everest? But I think running, everybody knows how hard it is.
Yeah, exactly. Also,
Mm,
yeah, that's true.
that's very smart.
Yeah, but distance is very visible.
Yeah.
Things,
Everybody knows it is huge.
Yeah, exactly. So suppose like the place where I live, Bodh Gaya to Gaya, the city
Yeah.
is around round trip is 10K, right? So for my dribbling challenge across India, I had been covering 40 kilometers every day, right? Which is equivalent to full marathon for 2 months. So you just say, okay, you just go Gaya
You're running 40 kilometers
dribbling.
dribbling.
Yeah. Not running, okay, dribbling.
But I think dribbling is harder.
Yeah.
Yes. So dribbling for average out 40 kilometers a day.
Yeah, for 2 months.
Every day.
Every day, yeah. From Kolkata to New Delhi.
What are you saying?
Yeah. They're crazy. During a March to May, which is kind of dry.
The worst timing ever. Yeah. So you planned it in the summer months, or is just you decided?
I plan because people would ask you, okay, especially Japanese or foreign workers that ask me, how is the weather there? If I say, oh, like I did like for the travel season, winter, the weather was pleasant.
Yeah.
Versus the hottest dry season, which is more impact, So yeah, if you want to take challenge, why not to choose harder one,
That I have to think about a lot. I think I'm somebody who likes challenges. Like
Right.
I like physical challenges. I like mental challenges. But I also like challenges I'm good at because I need to win. Right? It's not winning in terms of like games and stuff, but I need to do some things, and the goals I take up, they can't be just completely outside. Like like for me, for example, I can run 5 kilometers, but for me to a challenge would be for me to run 16, 7.
Right.
That's a challenge. But like I know I won't do 50 because I'm just like in that now I'm lazy. And at 50 kilometers, I was like, just forget it. But for you to take a really, really hard challenge, 40 kilometers a day, that's just
That is a tough.
what you're doing again.
Longer one. But the point is, here's the point. I didn't mean to cover 40 kilometers every single day.
Yeah.
Before I begin this project, I consulted with my friends in Japan who are doctors at a very prestigious hospital, saying, okay, I'm going to dribbling football across India. What do you think, doctors? Like how many distance I can cover, like realistically? They go like, okay, 45-degree concrete, maybe you can start from 25K per day,
Yeah.
Then I started with it, 25 days per day for first week, 1 week, It was super tough, actually.
Yeah.
It was super hard, starting from Kolkata, very tough. And there are a lot of defenders out there, right? like drunk uncles or cows or chickens or rikshawara or chaiwara, whatever we called. A lot of different, it'll have to be messy, you know? Lionel Messi is already in India. It's me, but you had to be so yeah. So it was hard, and that wasn't like free running, right? You have to be pay attention for football that you dribble. So my neck hurts, my knee hurts, and everything, you know. And well, what I noticed after 1 week is that okay, I think I'm getting used to. Let's see how I can extend my distance or how I can stretch myself, right? So then I realized all the capacity or limit, you know, or always created by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because who has done it before, right? Even like Japanese doctor, they have no clue, right? Based on their experience of the view that they imagine, then they advise me, right? But who knows, right? Without taking challenge. So then I started to notice that I can stretch more and more and more. And after maybe 10, 15 days, 11, 12 days, I realized that, okay, maybe I can try full marathon distance because of dribbling football in India. Then I did it, you know, I had a huge accomplishment. Then I started to look up, there's a more distance marathon called the ultra marathon.
Yeah.
You know, all the ultra marathon is something you cover more than full marathon distance, right? Which is 26 miles, more than 26 miles or 42 kilometers, right? Okay, ultramarathon. Okay, that was my first time to hear ultramarathon, you know? Okay, there's people like running crazily, like 70K, 80K, 90K, you know? Or, you know, David Goggins, you know, stuff like that. Then I come to know that there are a lot of crazy people out there.
But not every day.
Not every day, yes. And then at some point, I remember there was a ride before Lucknow, which is the capital of UP. You know, Uttar Pradesh states. Those who don't know, India, the capital has a Taj Mahal, you know, Ganges River, right? The team and I was like, okay, almost Lucknow. How many kilometers are there? 100 kilometers, right? Shall we try 100 kilometers to cover in a single day? You know? That makes me very exciting. Like how I just wanted to see, I was super curious about what kind of views are there, like physically, mentally, if you do that dribbling soccer ball in India, 100 kilometers in a single day. Why not try challenge, you know?
No, wait, tell me. So when you started at 25K,
See,
and you said your body was hurting because you were looking down and you were dribbling the whole time.
Yeah.
When you went from there to 40 and you're running 25K, you'd be running what, 3 hours?
3 or 4 hours, yeah.
3 or 4 hours. And then when you're doing 40K, you're running close to 6.
Yes.
And then when you're doing 100, you're close to 12.
100 kilometers, it took 15 hours.
15 hours.
Yes.
So, my God.
Yeah, you know, like we always start dribbling.
I have goosebumps. Just imagining, because I ran like 60. Last I ran was 16K in Prague, around -2. It was fun, the halfway when I was pushing myself. But I know the way back, my legs were just numb.
Yeah, and that's it. That's we have, human capacities are limited actually. And we always start dribbling around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning because after 10 of work goes super hot, right? And another challenge was almost every day we did some football workshop or like lecture or for local community or education center or university or sometimes government sector. So dribbling a soccer ball wasn't only the program that we had, you know, because we wanted to spread a message for, you know.
Right.
So we just wanted to finish the dribbling as quickly as possible for the first half of the day, right?
So you can get on to the main thing.
Exactly. And then when the day we did 100 kilometers, we also did the same, like kick off the football 5 o'clock something. But at the end, we ended up Lucknow, you know, this congested, crazy, loud city turns complete silence, you know, because it was like middle of the night. You know, we ended up silence. Only like few rickshaw guys are there.
Yeah.
You know, only sounds that I could hear was just my steps and the movement of the football.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never forget this. The view, 100 kilometers on even our driver asked me, Nonoji, let's stop. We are super sleepy. Yeah, but we just, already
How much was the crew? What was the crew?
2 medias and 1 driver.
2 medias and 1 driver.
But of course, I couldn't use a car because that was Guinness World Record challenge, and there's certain policies, right? Of course.
Yeah. And the media people are from sponsors or
No, Jharkhand.
Jharkhand?
Yeah, local.
Okay.
Yeah. Media means we
Or just
documentary. Yeah.
And you came up with all the plan, like where to stop and
Correct.
how did you know? Like first is even when we go on a bike trip, like some days you just go feel like riding, but then you're like, oh, I'm in the middle of nowhere. And where do you rest? So how did you plan out more or less?
So simply, we wanted to cover 2,000 kilometers, and we wanted to cover 6 states, starting from West Bengal, Jharkhand, Bihar, UP, Haryana, Delhi. And before I start dribbling, I got some appointments also, right, for lecture and whatever. So just I pointed out the place and then calculate the distance. And then it was very simple. It was totally unprofessional way we did. Just like simple Google map. Okay, 40 kilometers, 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers.
Just find a hotel wherever you're.
Yeah, no, you said it 25 kilometers, 25 kilometers.
But you'd find a hotel in this, whatever. What?
Yeah, a few days.
Where would you sleep, like actually?
One time slept in gas station. But
On the gas station.
yeah, in the gas station.
Is it open?
Not open. It was inside. The owner allows us to do that.
Impromptu, right? You didn't plan that.
No, definitely not. But most of the time, like lower guest house.
Yeah.
However, here's also point that, 4 kilometers down. Today's a line here. Okay, we're gonna find accommodation to stay. If you see Google Map, there are a bunch of accommodation out there. However, if you go there, actually,
They're not there.
no, exactly. Oil hotel, very clean, pictures. But if you get there, it exists.
Yeah.
Headache, and of course, always pictures in the real condition, totally different,
And what it is.
Yeah. And if you get there, okay, finally, there's a bed to stay, sleep, but there's no light. If you lay down, bunch of mosquito came.
Yeah.
You just, put a Odomos around,
The
Yeah.
I mean, night.
Exactly. And then every single day switch accommodation, right? That means we have to, as soon as we get there, eat some food and then wash up a couple of ourselves and just dry it up and just sleep as quickly as possible because next day, imagine after like full marathon that you just sleep and then tomorrow in the morning again for marathon, it's like, like nightmare, after wake up and then you're exhausting, right? When you close my eye, 2 seconds was morning,
Yeah.
So
But what was going in your head? Like, were you at certain points, like, also just questioning what's the point? Because I feel that I understand where you're coming from. I understand you wanted to show to the kids, and that was very important for you, and integrity and not having a contradiction. But when you're in the challenge, and this is probably the hardest one that you had taken to this point of time, wasn't there moments where you were like, what's the point? Like, this is good enough. Like, that's something that my brain does, is that it says that this is good enough. You can just go home now.
yeah, I had a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because that was also one of the Guinness World Record challenge attempting, right? The current record was 337 kilometers done by Australia social activists back in 2023. So
What was the, can you describe technically what was the challenge? Like Guinness Book of World Record?
the longest journey with the driving a soccer ball is a title.
And that the longest before that was 337 kilometers. And how did you do?
2007. Yeah.
2007. This you went 6 times.
Yeah, but our application has been still under process to be approved by the headquarters of the Guinness.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I want to say here is back to your question. Yes, after exceeding 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers, it was Jharkhand Jamshedpur. It's enough because this is already Guinness World Record challenge, like Guinness World Record. A lot of times, like, why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
like I'm getting after 32 years old. Why I'm dribbling soccer ball in middle of India, What is the point? Yes, a lot of times, countless time came to my mind.
Yeah.
But at the end, the most, how to say, the sustainable motivation, which
I'm actually having tears about just imagining this. Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, and I feel that I would just feel so out of place. I would just feel I'm in a completely new country. Like, these are, even in Bihar for me, I'm from Delhi. I'm saying I'm an Indian. Even for me, I'd be like, what am I doing this for? Right? Like, there has to be, like, I would just constantly question is exactly like, what am I doing? Like, I'm dribbling a soccer ball through a foreign country to raise awareness about foreign kids to have a better impact in their life. And
yeah. So
wow, this is
yeah, thanks very much for saying that. The two things definitely. One, simply wanted to accomplish, myself, because I've never done anything before. Of course, I had a good career for football, education, whatever, but like at the end, whether you achieve something or not is something known by only you, right? Yeah, sometimes, right? Mostly, right? Because of course your family know a lot of things, but behind the scene, like before you sleep bed and when you close your eyes,
they know a line, right? They just know Nono ran this.
yeah.
But you're living it every second.
Correct. I just didn't want to have any regret before we finish. Also, I was also always imagining, okay, after I finish this dribbling challenge, I'm gonna back to Bihar.
Yeah.
And kids would ask me, how was it, right? Then I just question myself, would I be in the place that I can say to the children, yes, I did,
Yeah.
That's transparency, right? And so that's what kept me going.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I also like, I feel that, for example, when you hear David Goggins, you can see that guy has inner demons, right? He's like, he's having this fire and he's fighting against himself. And there's a lot of, at least like, I really like that guy. Like, I think he's doing stuff that nobody can even think of, but I still feel that like the way he's doing it is a lot of negativity. It's like
Fear base.
yeah, like it's not, again, he's not doing it for anybody, right? Like, he's just doing it for himself and he's proven that multiple times. But I still feel that it's coming from a place of anger and a place of proving to yourself. And if you don't do it, then there's negative effects. How is it going in your head? Like, is it you're just looking at the positives and not having that negative feeling of that, I need to prove myself? I'm also trying to understand, like, how balanced is that happening? Because for me, especially when it comes to physical activities, I sometimes have to feel like I'm punishing myself. Like, almost that feeling of like, I can do this just because I can, I'll prove it to myself.
Very honestly speaking, you have to use everything to transform the motivation. Like, very small one to begin with. Imagine, okay, after I finish running, I can have some food.
Yeah.
To begin with. Just be excited for the food or the project. But it doesn't go long, right? It's not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
Or I was also imagining if David Goggins or any like motivational speaker or athlete were here next to me, they go like, no, if you stop, I'm gonna smash your ass and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
That was also like pushing myself, like him as the way David Goggins does. Or imagining my family back to my Japan, they like cheer me up. Also, as I mentioned, I was imagining every single student's face and name. So that was, of course, a sustainable, most sustainable motivation to me. But actually, I had to imagine and use every single things to transfer the motivation.
Yeah.
You know, because it's long, like around 15 hours. You know.
And that's, you're saying that is not the main deal. You're trying to like have workshops after that. That got basically, you're doing a day job and in the middle you're running 2,000 kilometers.
Correct. I was also still working for a corporate 2 hours for online. Yeah. So my client was like, Mr. Nono, you seems like very getting dark. What's happening around? I was like, okay, I'm doing a soccer was in India.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what everything was part of my challenge. And the preparation, the nutrition that I had was only in India local food.
Yeah.
Heat wave, everything was my challenge. Stomach upset, be a good advocate for the government to tell the importance of challenge.
Yeah.
Because sat down together with IPS officers or UNICEF.
Yeah.
Or IIT New Delhi, Panasonic.
So you had to be, after the run, you had to be like on top of your game, right? You have to be talk to people, delivering workshops.
Yep.
This doing work.
Yeah, this is what
Was it like meditation when you were running?
Well, I'm not like a best meditation practitioner,
But that,
yeah, I mean,
how can that not be if you're just doing, you're not looking around, you're looking down.
yeah, because once you start to do consistent physical movement, same action like repeatedly,
Right.
also focusing on your breathe, right?
Yeah.
Sort of meditation, like movie meditation.
Yeah. But you're not running through the cities like proper, because I feel that
No. I mean,
the traffic and is
so 80-90% road we took was national highway.
really.
Yeah. So
Wow.
view doesn't change. You imagine, right? An Indian national highway, right?
Yeah.
Same. That especially north side. And 5% are cities, right? Like Kolkata,
Wow.
Ranchi, Patna, Varanasi,
Incredible.
Lucknow, Gurgaon, Delhi. So other than, because so India has a lot of big cities, but
Yeah.
if you drive 30 minutes, it's a village, right?
Yeah.
Right? So almost like a very monotonous, same view you have to see every day.
Yeah.
So that made me think, am I making progress?
Yeah.
Because view doesn't change, really. Yeah. View doesn't change. So this is also realize that growth itself is, you're gonna realize at some point when you like through back, right? Okay, I came to this point, sometimes you don't feel any growth and development, improvement when in the middle of something.
Right.
And then
Because you're noticing every day.
exactly question myself, like, am I making progress? Because always like same view and horizon is there and I can't see Delhi. Where's Delhi?
Yeah.
But at some point I threw back, okay, we covered 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay, So that's
Did it change you? Did it change who you are? This wrong.
It didn't change me. It made me discover actual me.
Right. So you kind of imagine like you're a rock and you just sculpted. Yes, you found yourself.
Exactly. Like the master did to shave the stone and find King David.
Yeah.
He found the masterpiece in the stone, right?
Right.
And they save something which wasn't King David, right?
Yeah.
Right? So we always have some like a masterpiece and like core value within us. But getting to like society or whatever, then a lot of unnecessary things comes up,
Yeah.
like social norm, you can't do that and stuff like that, it's getting heavier and heavier.
Right.
So you just like, you have to like shave anything unnecessary to come back,
Yeah.
So that's not like something discovery knew me, but I was there.
You just found it.
Yeah.
You had to shed it
there. Yeah, exactly. Because I always wanted to accomplish something, be an athlete, and being fit as possible, but I couldn't make it happen,
Yeah.
So
You found a mission.
Yeah.
To associate with. It's not just you anymore. It's much bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like the mission is not just I want to look good or I want to be fit. Now you have a cause.
Yeah.
Or
Correct.
often wonder, like, I feel that the path, for example, the path you have taken, it makes you more of a, like, you have a community of kids and stuff, but it also makes you less relatable, right? So by that I mean that you become more and more, are you like, do you feel that the more you get into the mission, the more lonelier you're becoming, in the sense of for example, having a partner or friendships?
Okay. Personal.
Yeah, personally, because you're basically going down a mission, right? And I feel that that happens with a lot of people. For example, I have a friend that I speak with him very closely, and he feels that way now because he feels that the more he's sculpting himself, the more layers he's shedding, the more he's realizing that the people that he can have good time with, enjoy with, they're actually much lesser because he's more here. So I'm also trying to understand that, like, do you feel that way? That did you connect? If it's not personal level, like, because at a mission level, you're connecting way more than before. You feel like you're, going on a higher trajectory in the mission. But at a personal level, is it also like you're finding yourself a much better person? You're liking time. You're liking the time you're spending by yourself. So you don't need a lot of people.
No, we need people. But personal, like, it's a good question actually.
Yeah.
That's I think the puzzle piece I need to figure out. But I really care about my own well-being also, because I do strongly believe that if we don't like fill up this glass, right?
Yeah.
Full of water, right? I can't fill up for the next person, right? Next glass,
Right.
right? So
You help yourself.
if I just sacrifice myself to not have my well-being, right?
You're not helping anyone.
No. So otherwise there's no capacity, right?
Right.
So I really care about my well-being, and I definitely connect with a lot of beautiful people around. But personal life-wise, I don't know actually.
Yeah.
Now happy single.
But this is true for, like, if you see people on a mission, right? Like, this is so true because it's not like it's distraction, but you're not, like, either you're not having time, but also you're just so focused on the thing that everything else is secondary, right? Wherein I think if, like, for example, if I'm not doing nothing really important, I have a job, it's paying me well enough, I'm bound to be more distracted. Right? I feel that the more work you do, I feel the more work you do, the more time you have for that thing, and you're not distracted by other things. And I think that feels like a lot in your case.
Definitely, because you don't have any space for your brain.
And this is the number one thing that you're thinking about, even when you're traveling. Like right now, you're here in America, you're trying to figure out how you can gather support for the work you're doing back in India. That becomes your 100% goal.
Yeah.
And your job and everything helps sustain your life. Have your views changed about money, like, since leaving Japan? Like,
Or which sense? Like,
in the sense that you feel that, like, when you left Japan, you said that you got the job at where it was paying good money. So you had a different relationship with money. Now you're seeing yourself as a medium for helping uplift other people's life. How important it is to for you to be, as you said, sustainable and do this full time. Like, is this something like you balance out? Because that's something I struggle myself with.
Right.
How much should I work for Amazon, which pays well,
Right.
helps me, sustain my family.
Right.
But I feel that is something that is missing.
So we have to define how much we need to be happy, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then we have to also break it down and also what is happiness, right? If you want to travel like 4 times in a year abroad and put your kids for higher education in America versus, we have to define, break it down like how much we need and be happy and what is happy,
Right.
And definitely for me, I have to afford for my travel to go to Japan to see my families and for my save for future family as well. Though I'm not single, but if you see my future, my family foundation of also, right? And then, as I said, I really care about my well-being, own well-being. I'm a big travel lover, I love see outside of country also. So this of course, living in a countryside village side of India doesn't cost, but definitely it's very important, and to sustain my lifestyle as that will definitely connect with my own social activity as well, right?
Right.
Otherwise, I've been using a lot of pocket budget, of course, to afford for the football club, right? So yeah, this is very important. So what I'm now working on to tackle this is of course, like a basic income wise, I've been working for the Japanese company as a freelancer, but planning to establish a private company in India.
Ah.
Yeah, to make a soybean protein.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we found a lot of kids are suffering from nutrition deficiency and
Vegetarian.
yeah. Also, 80% of the population in Bihar are getting more for agriculture, right? And also like a lot of Indian people started being more fit and exercise, and even this requirement are there. So I always wanted to do just something like sports oriented and nutrition oriented things that we can contribute for the make society and people better. What you say? So then also to sustain our activity as well, right? Because when you do no profit organization, you always depends on
the
donations, activity, sponsorship.
Right. So you were saying about the soy protein.
So yes.
So you're relying on donations and
Once you start an NPO activity, no profit activity, you always depends on subsidy or donation, which is good, but it's always not always tend to depend on founder, because the leader's face and message is very important. Where's the money, right? But imagine if I die, then what's gonna happen? So I have to create ecosystem which allows children's future generation, next generation can play and to be in a safe place. So that's we have to create,
Yeah.
And then I was want to do something social business to create like income generation for the people out there in Bihar. Also, the product itself need to be contribute for the kids' health, right?
Right.
Plus, the product itself also need to create money, also contribute for the people in the big city for their well-being, right?
Right.
So then, if I describe myself as an athlete, right? I'm doing the endurance activity, so I always wanted to have some like authentic nutrition source, right?
Yeah.
So it's for me, for my organization, for children, and for the people at Bihar, because this is the foundation of business, right?
Yeah.
To contribute for the society and people, right? The actual tangible materials, right?
And then you are rewarded with money because it's a being thing. So tell me one thing that I often find people, everybody knows that helping others is important, being of service, being of impact. And I know the word gets thrown around very easily these days, but like being of service to others, and that's very human element. But I find that most people that don't want to either they don't find a channel. Like, for example, you started something on your own. Most people don't have the energy. Most people don't have the skills to start something of their own, but either they don't find a channel like that to help. But secondly, I feel that most people are just very busy in their own lives. They're just, you know, I have a family, and then, I'm an immigrant. I'm mostly thinking about myself. I'm making like more money than most of my friends back in India, which is I'm in US. But I still feel that people are not willing to step outside their comfort zone and go and help people. Whereas you're somebody who's done like an extreme form of that, just dislocated completely from your home and then jump into another country and help those local people. What have you found in this area of service? What has your communication been with people that you talk to back home in Japan? Is that where the happiness is truly?
Yeah, still same common. It's not this year, but the things the people have been back in Japan as well. But simply you need to feel actual like a necessity, right? That you or like actual like wish that you want to be a different, or you wanna really really take a challenge or beyond your borders, right? Because again, we can't change the people, right? But simply, I always say, just imagine like when you close your eyes and if you're laid down the hospital bed or the bed in the house, whatever, the final moment of our life, like what sort of view you want to see, right?
Yeah, who you are.
Yeah. And again, what kind of person you want to be, also how you want to be described by the people around you, you know? So then if just simply work for corporate or whatever, and then for family is the best view you want to have, then fine, right? There is not something good and bad, right? Simply how you want to, what is it, the best way you want to finish the life? That's it. It's very simple. And then we can't change the people, right? Yeah, simply we need to just sit down and reflect. Yeah, and what's your, again, what is the things you have to save?
Yeah.
And so that's the things.
One of my mentors, like Charlie Munger, like he has a famous saying that you write your own obituary when you die. You read out loud, what do you want it to be? And then you have whatever your life is remaining to reverse engineer it. And, so that should be very clear.
Yeah.
And I think most people, even with not just money or any kind of status of power or followers, like I feel that they know the answer, that this is not it, right? I think they definitely feel
I agree.
that way. But it's just so hard to now change and pivot because that's a game they know how to play and they're winning, right? Like if I'm making good money, if I have a lot of power or followership, I know that game and it's just easier to continue, even if it's no purpose, right? Like it won't matter to your near and dear ones, like your family, your kids, like how much money you have. After a certain point, is like there's no point of it. The question then becomes is what are you going to do with what you have? And I think there's also a very famous Japanese book of Dying with Zero. That's a really powerful book. Like so, I find that. What do you think about the culture, for example, in Japan and how it could be like? How could like some of the Indians learn from it? For example, I really find the Japanese culture, and I saw that way more in Kyoto, for example. Just the people of harmony of life. It is the way they were making the matchas, the way they're walking on the street. There's a lot of peace and gratitude. And they're all like, I did find a lot of loneliness in Japan. Like, as you said, they're depopulating. But I did not find people unhappy. I think that is something that maybe Indians in general could learn. I mean, yes, we have economic issues, right? I think I think money is the number one problem where India should be solving for sure. Like because people who are not able to know what their meal is going to be in the night, food is the most important detail. But apart from that, like I think there's way more to life, and I think most people in the cities they're just stuck in those cycles of I need to work harder, I need to get better titles, and but they're not
Right.
earning money.
Right. Well, so the actually as a premise, as a Japanese, born and brought up in Japan, now live in India. I must say, we a lot of things we have to learn from India. First of all, actually, you have the national sense of supporting ecosystem, supporting each other, without any expectation to be said thank you. It's very natural. Like if you go to the village, like without asking, just you carry your stuff like that. But Japan, something I can proud of my nation is we have strong ability to empathize for others, and we have a strong moral manner, which is something our education did well. We have a lot of moral studies. Read a lot of books and think about why this main character act in a way. If you are him or her, how would you do that? Same or different? So a lot of moral studies there. So that's why you have to always read the atmosphere or surrounding or circumstance. That's why if you get into the train in Tokyo, it's about silent. Yeah, completely. Which kind of for me, it's a little bit hard because
Do you think you think you can go back to Japan? Like
no,
you would feel
no, because very honestly speaking, I feel happier, healthier, and more healed in India, right? Because I have a lot of love and support from India. India gives me a lot of the spice for my tamak in life. But but because we still need to think about a lot of how to, things like how to be seen by other people, society, and stuff like that. It's been changing, definitely.
Right.
Our young generation has been changing. But still, a little bit too tight for me, honestly speaking.
Yeah, for sure. Like me and my wife felt the same way. Like we could maybe live in Japan for a couple of years. It's just beautiful, very nice people. But I think yes, it's a culture too far away. From us to relate.
But India, Japan is the best. How to say? Something we lack in Japan is something you have. Opposite. Yeah. Right. So the best combination, honestly speaking. So, I want to Japanese schools more introduce some Indian education system whatever same because at India still a lot of people they don't have the sense of public space. I always wonder during Diwali just clean up everything, purchase new balloons, beautiful, but gather everything and just throw away in front of your house.
That's what exactly my wife says. Like she's from Prague, she's from Europe.
Okay.
And he feels like so surprised that you would have these, because I'm from Delhi and she's been to Delhi like 5-6 times. She's just surprised that people would dress up so nicely. The aunties would dress up so nicely, clean up their house, like make it so beautiful, like, flawless. And then right outside the house, there would be just garbage.
Yeah, I mean, they let your cows eating plastic.
Yeah. And then we worship the cow.
Yeah.
So,
Say
so I think there's a disconnect. There's like lot, like you as a foreigner or as a neutral person, you would be like, oh, I thought you say cleanliness is next to godliness, but why is there trash outside your house? So there's that contradiction.
Yeah.
Right? You're saying that in all of Indian scripture, like we talk about animals and
Right.
so much respect, but then, we don't respect them in day-to-day life.
Correct.
I'm surprised that you say that people, at least in Delhi, I would see in cities that people are not nice to each other. Neighbors are not nice to each other. Like they don't talk to each other because there's always like competition. Like how India, Pakistan, is like never nice to each other, right? Because of history. But I feel the neighbors are the same. There's very few common ways because they stole my parking lot, or they threw trash in front of my house. They're always competing with neighbors.
Yeah,
So there's a stress.
it's a difficult,
There's a Yeah, I find that stress in people in middle life. But coming back to one of the last questions that I had for you was around the gender inequality. I find that it's much harder to educate parents because their culture and their backgrounds, they have years and years of training of a certain way, and then now you can't tell them that you've been doing something. You should do something differently, right? From your perspective, what had been the talking points that you've given to the girls, for example, that they can talk back at home and explain their reasoning? Because I find that most often that it's the girls who have to lead that conversation. What have you found in that? Like, what is something that you've learned that, this is the way to talk and you can convince people?
It's very difficult and tough that we change the adult, perspective and concept, right?
Yeah.
After we become certain age, and we can't change that mind. But still, we have a lot of engagement with the parents. Suppose like every year we have a football and education exposure for out in the different state. We try to take a few moms also along with us, taking training and let them see what is soccer, football, and education. Before we explain the village, just let them see, their moms are also exciting,
Yeah.
And also, we recently what we did was we just practice football with moms. They are wearing saris, and
Right.
this the parents' engagement is definitely necessary. But it's tough. It's tough. Just need to keep talking with them, and we need to we need to bring some certain benefit for them. Benefit means not like something like material or like money or whatever. The 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 sense of like joy, or like development or growth also, like they let them see different world, or because the moms also have some like stress, right, within the community and house, so let them like release their stress within the sports or football. So their well-being is also important to expect them to see the change for their daughters, right? So never easy, but bleak by bleak. So we have to working on it,
Oh, awesome. Where can people find what you're up to and where can people follow your journey?
Yeah, I'm very active for IG, Instagram, as well as we have a website, and we need all the support for not only donation but also volunteer. We have like 3 English volunteers online teaching, and so IG or email or website. Just leave us comment or message. Yes, yeah.
So it's India Nono, right?
You know.
Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you so much. Thank you for traveling across the ocean. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening into today's conversation. If you found this or the past conversations helpful, please do share, comment, and subscribe. These guests are from my own personal network, so I would really encourage you to subscribe because that helps support the channel.